Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just a reminder to turn off or silence your cell phones, electronic devices. This is a hearing of the Committee of Adjustment for the City of Thorold for Thursday, June 19th, 2025. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to speak for or against the applications being heard. When given a chance to speak, you only have 5 minutes, so please be sure to be as clear and consistent as possible. For your information, Committee of Adjustment is a public process. Personal information such as the applicant's name and property address, which is reported at a Committee of Adjustment meeting, is public information. Minutes of this Committee of Adjustment meeting will be received by Thorold City Council. Please address your comments and questions through the chair. A copy of the decision will be sent to the applicant or agent or any person who files a written request. Agencies commenting on applications may request that certain conditions be imposed. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. Committee of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial body operating under the Planning Act, the Municipal Act, and the Statutory Powers Procedure Act, as well as various provincial regulations. Sections 45 and 50 of the Planning Act outline the circumstances surrounding the approval of minor variances and controlling the conveyance of land in Ontario and the prevention of subdivision of land except with governmental approval. The applicant, minister, or any specified person or public body who has an interest in the matter may, within 20 days of the making of the minor variance decision and 20 days from the date of the mailing of the consent decision, appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Please note that neighbors or other interested parties not defined by the Planning Act are no longer eligible to file appeals as per Bill 23, More Homes Built Faster Act 2022. I would ask the clerk to read the land acknowledgement, please.
The City of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hatawin-Dowronk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The City of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live.
Thank you. Does any member of this panel have a pecuniary interest in any of the applications to be considered? I have a question. Go ahead. We'll introduce them after this. Thank you. So, nor do I. May I have a motion from the committee the agenda be adopted as presented? Moved by Mr. Pizzo, seconded by Mr. Ravenak. All in favor? Thank you. May I have a motion from the minutes of May 15th, 2025 be adopted as presented? Mr. Jackson, seconded by Mr. Ravenak. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Secretary Treasurer, was notice given as required by the Planning Act?
Yes.
Are there any requests for withdrawal or adjournment?
No.
Thank you. We have a virtual attendee. Mila, are you presenting?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your first application, 1548 Henderson Street.
Thank you very much. Just going to wait for my camera to kick in. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mila Masick. I work with MHBC, but today I am here on behalf of the Planning Department with the City of Thorold. The first file up for presentation today is 1548 Henderson Street, file number D10-01-2025. The proposal is a consent application to sever the lot in order to facilitate the construction of 3 townhouse dwellings units and 2 semi-detached dwelling units. So a total of 5 units will be on the lot. Parts 1 through 3 are proposed to be used for the townhouse units and parts 4 and 5 for the semi-detached dwelling. The zone on the lot applicable to the lot is R1A, which permits all of the proposed uses. The proposal for severance meets the applicable policies under the 2024 Provincial Planning Statement, Niagara Region and Thorold official plans, as well as meets the requirements under the zoning bylaw. A few comments were provided from the building and engineering departments as well as the region, and these comments have been incorporated as conditions to ensure that the city and the region are satisfied prior to finalization of the consent. A few members of the public had comments regarding the application, which have been acknowledged within the report as well. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions in order to address the proper certification and registration of the lands, the demolition of the existing structures and the curb apron repair, as well as the future curb cuts to be made off of Clifton Street, as well as conditions to address department and agency comments. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Thank you, Mila. Who speaks on behalf of this application? Please, if you could come to the front, identify yourself for the record.
Yeah, was it on? I'm not sure if this can be raised. I think in the past it always have issues with this microphone. Okay, you can hear me okay?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Great. Okay, my name is Cam Lang. I'm with CL Planning and Design Limited. I do have a presentation, and I'm not sure what staff member has that on their system and will be loading it. Okay. And I might be a little bit more than 5 minutes because there is a lot to go over, and I think it'll benefit the residents as well to hear as much information as possible on this application.
Looks like we're ready, go ahead.
Yeah, next slide, please. So just some context, and I have a laser pointer here, so I'm going to be using this red dot quite frequently. So if you turn your attention to the screen, just in terms of the context of the property, looking south, you can see the subject property here. It's within the village of Allenburg, northwest corner of Henderson and Clifton Street. It is primarily a low-density residential community, but it's not entirely single-family. And as you'll see later on in my presentation, there are a number of semi-detached dwellings that exist, as well as a townhouse dwellings as well. Next slide. In terms of existing conditions, there's an existing house at the corner. It is an older home, as you can see within the picture on the bottom. The driveway is currently oriented towards Henderson Street, but the building itself is oriented to with the front door to Clifton Street. So this proposal attempts to mimic that. It's 1.5 stories tall. There are some accessory buildings in the rear, mostly sheds. Those will be demolished as well. There's an existing sidewalk along Henderson that wraps around Clifton to the extent of the front door. Stormwater is currently conveyed through ditches and swales, and that condition is going to continue to exist with the proposal. There are 12 trees currently on the property. There's 4 to 5 mature ones within the center of the property. Those will need to be removed in order to facilitate the construction of the dwellings. The balance of the trees that are located along the perimeter, there is an intent to preserve those. And one of the conditions of the consent is to enter into a development agreement, and we have no problem doing that. Things like landscaping, fencing, and privacy matters can be addressed through that as well. And my clients are certainly willing to work with the city and neighbors in terms of ensuring good mitigation and proper screening as well. Next slide, please. So as Mila presented, the severance, the retained lot will be where the existing house is, and then 4 new lots will be created. Parts lot 1 or the retained lot, as well as lots 1 and 2 will be where the street townhouse exists, and then the semi-detached will be adjacent, will be interior, within the interior along Clifton Street. It is a fairly large frontage. It's 50 meters along Clifton Street. That's large enough to accommodate, as of right, 4 single detached dwelling lots, which have 12 meters in frontage. Also enough to accommodate the lot area. So instead of proposing 4 single detached dwelling lots, we've proposed only 2 buildings. and that includes the street townhouse and the semi-detached dwelling. So the impact of this is actually less than what it could be if we went strictly with single detached dwellings. I will also add that the lot is large enough to accommodate 6 street townhouses, 2 blocks of 3, with the frontages and areas conforming to zoning as well. So, if we go to the next slide, we'll be able to see the proposed site plan. This conforms to all zoning requirements of the R1A zone. No minor variances are required. Lot frontage, area, setbacks, and coverage are all fall within the regulations, as well as it exceeds the parking requirements substantially as well. The street townhouses will have 1-car garages, and the driveways are actually lengthened. They could be, the units could actually have a reduced front yard setback, but we actually move the units back further in order to create long enough driveways to accommodate stacked parking. So you can actually get 3 parking spaces for each of the townhouse units, and then you can actually get 6 for the semi-detached dwellings. So they will have double-car garages, and you will see later on from an aerial photo how that will work conceptually as well. Detailed engineering drawings have already been prepared to ensure that the site plan can function efficiently and effectively. There are no servicing constraints in terms of environmental issues. Archaeological concerns have been addressed and will be addressed by the conditions. No railway-related impacts either. There was a noise and vibration study done, and there's certain measures that need to be incorporated into the building construction, such as air conditioning units, or air conditioning to ensure that it meets MOE regulations. Next, please. This is what the conceptual elevation will look like. It's intended to be freehold ownership. The proposed heights, the townhouse dwelling has a proposed height of 6.43 meters. The adjacent semi-detached has a proposed height of 7 meters. This is a very important point that I'm going to make here, and it's probably the most important point, is that the maximum permitted height in the R1A zone as of right is 11 meters. So that's 36 feet high. We're proposing building heights of 23 feet. So as of right, even without this consent application, the existing property owner could walk into City of Thorold City Hall tomorrow with a demolition permit to take down the existing dwelling and build a 36-foot high 3-unit townhouse immediately next door to 2315 Clifton. And I have reviewed the comments from the adjacent neighbor. They were excellent. Certainly our clients are not proposing to do something like that. They intend to live in these units and be a part of this community, which is why they also don't want to propose something that isn't in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. And as I mentioned before, entering into a development agreement will address certain matters as well, including landscaping, privacy fencing, etc. So I think that's all I want to say about the conceptual elevation rendering. Hold on, just one. Even if we submitted one consent application to sever the lot in half, we would still be able to do this proposed development at a much higher height than what is being proposed. So just make sure you keep that in context. Next slide, please. In terms of addressing the official plan, it permits a full range of housing types, single, semis, townhouses, apartments as well, but that's certainly not something we're proposing. In terms of the matters that need to be addressed, when we look at the evaluation of criteria for consents, I've bulleted 5 of them right there. Certainly there's public road access, there's no traffic hazard due to the location on a curve or a hill, it can be serviced, storm, water, sanitary, and storm. There are no negative impacts on drainage or environmental features, and it is in keeping with the intent and provisions of the zoning bylaw. No variance is required. Now, this is not a minor variance, so I want to be clear about that. Normally, when an application comes before you, you assess a minor variance under the 4 tests, and one of which is the application minor in nature. That doesn't exist here. The other one, the big one, the more subjective one, is that under a variance, you get to decide whether the application is desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land. Now, with a consent application, these evaluation criteria are a little more cut and dried. So keep that in mind as well, is that even if you don't think this is minor in nature or potentially desirable, these are the evaluation criteria that you use, the full extent of the official plan policies. The density range falls within the 10 to 85 units per hectare for the urban living area. 33 units per hectare is proposed, and the report indicates that there's a surrounding area of 9 to 18 units per hectare. I do want to bring that to your attention as well in some following slides, because that's another important thing that we're going to look at, is what is the as-of-right density in this neighborhood. When we assess intensification and redevelopment, we look at unit density, we look at housing type, and whether or not they're compatible in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. The housing types we already know are permitted as of right. Now, if we can look at the next slide, we'll see exactly where those housing types are. So here's the subject property in this sort of salmon color where the semi-detached dwellings are in Allenburg. There's one directly across the street. There's a townhouse condominium, 10-unit townhouse condominium that was approved a couple of years ago, just 140 meters away from the subject property. So these are the types of housing that already exist within the neighborhood. And as I've mentioned before, they're permitted as of right in the zoning bylaw. Any property owner within the village is able to redevelop their property with a 3-unit townhouse as of right, 36 feet high as well. Next slide, please. So this R1A zone, I already mentioned, it also permits triplexes, so that's 3 dwelling units as of right. I mentioned the townhouses being permitted as well. Other provincial jurisdiction that's come out that allows for up to residential units on a single allows for additional dwelling units, 2 in the primary dwelling. So if you have a single detached dwelling, you are allowed to accommodate an interior accessory dwelling unit, for example, as well as a detached accessory dwelling unit, for a total of 3 units per parcel. Now, can municipalities ignore this direction? No, they cannot. They have to update their official plans and zoning bylaws accordingly to permit these additional dwelling units. And the City of Thorold has not yet done that, but my understanding is that that is a process that is probably being looked at right now. There's nothing in a local official plan or zoning bylaw that may prohibit up to 2 ADUs on any parcel of urban residential land. Now, the definition of that in the Planning Act is a property within an urban area that is designated and zoned for residential purposes and connected to municipal servicing. So all these R1A lots that are connected to municipal services are defined as parcels of urban residential land and able to accommodate the 3 units per parcel. If we look at the next slide, so what does this ultimately look like as of right? On the left, I've assumed, and I may be wrong, that there's only 1 unit per lot. And generally speaking, right now there is. There hasn't been a lot of redevelopment within Allenburg, certainly not adding interior or detached accessory dwelling units. If we look at the slide on the right, this is as of right density. So this is without even coming to the Committee of Adjustment. These property owners have the ability to go into City Hall and apply for building permits to either add an interior ADU, and it's hard to kind of see, but I have a yellow dot that represents the primary dwelling, a red dot that represents the interior accessory dwelling unit, and then I also have a purple dot. Generally, they're in the rear yards or side yards. That's where you're able to accommodate a detached accessory dwelling unit, and that's a separate building entirely. So right now, you can put 2 units within a primary dwelling, and then you can also build another dwelling on your property. And that's as of right. And I believe the city of Thorold will have to probably update its official plan and zoning bylaw accordingly in order to, and that'll address matters dealing with zoning, like zoning regulations, setbacks, et cetera. But anyway, so I just want to be clear that the as-of-right density is a lot higher than the 9 to 18 that currently exists. Next slide, please. When we look at is this development compatible and in keeping with the character of the neighborhood, the building footprints are similar to other dwellings in the neighborhood. So as you can see from the building mass here, these are all the footprints that exist within this particular block. Our townhouse has a frontage of 76 feet for its building facade. Our semi's at 60 feet. 2315, I've estimated these from Niagara Navigator aerial mapping. They might not be exact, but they're pretty, based on optics, they look like they're pretty much correct. You see 54 feet, then you see 57 feet, 38 feet, and 46 feet. But these buildings here, they're pretty well developed, right? They have minimal side yards. The homes are built right to the edges of the property. And then over here along Henderson Street, we see this is a single detached dwelling. It's 78 feet long. Its front building facade. It's longer than the townhouse that we're proposing. Over here across the street, it's 67 feet. The one thing that I did want to mention from earlier is parking. So this is 2315 Clifton. And what you'll notice is that it's able to accommodate stacked parking. So it has 3 parking spaces currently in the driveway. Now the garage mimics, so we have the same setback for our garages as well. So I just wanted to visually point out that we will also be able to accommodate stacked parking, 6 parking spaces within the semi-detached dwelling, 2 in the garage, 4 on the outside, and then 3 within the townhouses. There was a comment, I believe, from the neighbors at 2315 about the quality of Clifton Street. It's noted, it's not in good shape. But what I will say to that is that is an existing condition. That's not something that this application is exacerbating. And in fact, I think that by approving this application, having more residents complaining to the city about the quality of the road will actually get something fixed rather than the opposite. Next slide, please. In terms of neighborhood character fit, looking at the sort of the architectural style, this is the existing structure that exists at 2276 Center Street. It's got an 80-foot building facade, just pointing out the facade links as well. It's actually longer than the townhouse dwelling. We use this building here sort of as the model to determine the architectural style that is being proposed for this application. And, you know, visually speaking, it's pretty hard to differentiate between what a single detached dwelling is and what a 3-unit townhouse dwelling is. We get this perception that townhouses simply aren't compatible within low-density, single-family neighborhoods, but that really is not the case. As you can see from this particular slide, visually, I think it's very similar and highly compatible. So these buildings will fit fairly well within the neighborhood, and they're proposed at a very modest height. There's no objective to hover over adjacent dwellings. As I said before, our clients are very interested in living within these units themselves, so they're not going to do something that compromises the neighborhood quality. Next slide, please. So just generally speaking, I'm not going to review all of these bullet points and statements, but low-rise infill development that matches the height and general density of the existing neighborhood is more likely to support or increase local property values. And there are numerous studies to support this. So if you put your put yourself in the shoes of a home buyer. If you're looking within a community, you're more likely to be attracted to a neighborhood where there is some reinvestment, where there is some new development or redevelopment, things that enhance the neighborhood. You're not likely to buy into a neighborhood that shows no signs of investment or any sort of new building. You don't want to be buying into a dying or declining neighborhood. This development will encourage neighborhood reinvestment, and it will contribute to long-term housing stability. Next slide. And just a final thought that, obviously we are in a housing crisis, and the neighbors at 2315 did point out rather well that there is a lot of provincial direction in terms of intensification. This application does not say that we're proposing intensification at all costs. If it did, there would be a very different application before you. As I said before, the density is compatible with the surrounding area. The building heights are proposed well under what's permitted as of right in the zoning bylaw, and it fits the neighborhood. This application meets the moment and it answers the need. So I would ask that you approve the application. We agree with the staff recommendation and all the conditions that have been advanced to accommodate that recommendation. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that or concerns that committee members may have and respond to any public questions as well. So thanks for giving me a lot more than 5 minutes.
Yes, just a little over 5.
Yeah.
Questions from the committee members for the applicant? Go ahead, Mr. Revenek.
Thanks, Glenn. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Lang for a very in-depth presentation, answered most of the questions. My question, and it's also addressed by one of the residents, is about the condition and width of Clifton Street, and there will be more traffic on Clifton Street, obviously, and you had touched on it as well. I even question whether Clifton Street is the proper minimum width of a street, because if 2 vehicles are going down there, I went down and somebody was actually coming down the street, and you pretty well got to go onto the gravel shoulder to get 2 vehicles across. I don't know if you can address that, or the Mila can address that.
Mila, would you like to answer that, please?
Absolutely. Yep, through the chair. The application before you today definitely meets the parking requirements for underneath the zoning bylaw. To speak to increased traffic concerns, we do not anticipate that the introduction of 4 additional units on the street will substantially increase traffic flow. However, the width of the street, it's not under this application before you today. We can't address the width of the street. There is currently, to my knowledge, there is no plan to widen the width of Clifton Street at the moment, but that could be something that planning staff with the City of Thorold review in the future.
Thank you, Mila.
All right.
Mr. Revenek?
Thanks for that. I understand that this is something that maybe have to address down the road, but it is a narrow street, so I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Mr. Pizzo?
I have to agree with our colleague. Our problem is not the street.
It is on.
Yeah, it is on. The problem is not the street. You said you could move it back. Parking is a big, major problem in this town. These guys aren't looking at the problem. The problem is parking. Narrow street like that, the garage is useless. Nobody uses their garage. Can it be moved back?
Just to address that, so as I pointed out, we are proposing precisely what exists with all other dwellings within the neighborhood.
That's not my question.
Yeah, we move the houses back. We have the minimum rear yard at 7.5 meters. Our client actually wanted to move the houses back to make sure there was enough parking within the driveway. So if we simply went with what the front yard setback allows under the zoning, we probably only get one parking space within the front yard driveway. We actually are getting two. And if you looked at if we zoom in on that slide that I showed you with 2315 Clifton Street, you can see that our driveway is exact same length as the neighboring residences. We'll be able to get 4 cars within the front driveway of our semi-detached dwellings and 2 within the front yard of our townhouse units. And that doesn't include using the garage.
Thank you.
So you're suggesting that, you were the one that made the suggestion you could move the house, right? Didn't you make it?
Yeah, we did. We moved them all the way back.
Saying that
Yeah.
if you move them back, you will not pick up any parking spots?
If
Because
you
you're
can
gonna
go
get
to
a
the,
hell of a lot of problem on that street. One person parking, our colleague here would never have been gone through it.
so this dwelling here, you can see that it has 2 parking spaces here without being within the roadway. And we'll be able to do the exact same within our driveways. The other thing that I will add also is we're removing the driveway here along Henderson Street. And that will allow even more parking along the side of Henderson. And as you can see here, I just took a Google Street View, and it just so happens that people are parking along Henderson here as it is. And it can accommodate, Henderson certainly can accommodate on-street parking much better than Clifton. I agree, Clifton is a massive street. And it will have to get addressed at some point. I've identified some future urban development. So right now, this is not able to be developed because of a servicing constraint. It's subject to a greenfield overlay on the official plan. But at some point in the future, there's going to be a lot more than one single detached dwelling on that property. And I'd suggest that it could probably be townhouses as well. So, I mean, this street is going to get much busier in the next 5, 10, 20 years. And it will have to be addressed. I mean, as it is, the street is hard to drive down without hitting a pothole.
Mr. DiPaolo.
Through you, Chair, could we go back to that one slide that had all the colorful dots? With all the, right there, right there. I just want to, so as it is right now, regardless of what the condition of the street is, there is approval authority in place that these extra additional dwelling units could be added. I just want to confirm my understanding on that. And also, the question through you, Chair, for the applicant is, where he has starred the property, he hasn't included that these additional properties would also be entitled to detached additional dwelling units.
Yeah, I'll respond to that. That's an excellent point. Certainly, yeah, if you create new lots, you obviously are entitled to those interior additional dwelling units, as well as the detached. I'm going to take it to another slide, though. I think it's the one before it. If I take you to the slide before. So there is some provincial, oh, no, it's not that slide. It is, oh no, stay on that slide. My fault. Back to this with the dots. I forgot to mention here, so for detached accessory dwelling units, there are provincial requirements, and that's that they be separated by at least 4 meters from the primary dwelling, and your lot coverage is maxed out at 45%. Our proposed site plan maxes out our lot coverage already. We would not be able to accommodate detached accessory dwelling units on our proposed site plan. You're right, there could be interior ADUs, like accessory basement, let's say basement. I will also say this, though, it'd be very challenging to put an interior ADU within an interior townhouse unit, simply because it can't be accessed from a side door, and you couldn't access it from the rear either, because you'd be, I guess, trespassing through the end units. So, but that probably removes that likelihood as well. There is no intention to accommodate ADUs at this point in time, no. But you're right, and you can ask staff that question as well. Is this something that would be permitted in terms of Clifton Street as of right? Would there be, is that density permitted? And I think that you'll get a positive response from planning staff in terms of what the provincial requirements allow.
Thank you. Further questions, Mr. Daniels?
Maybe not so much a question about the variance itself, but just for regards to the city, like you're putting in, was it 1, 2, 3, 4 driveways, 5 driveways? Right, so we're hardening a lot of surfaces there. We're running on ditches and swales. Has there been any sort of like EA or some sort of capacity check of water because if the road's small as it is and you have ditches that are accumulating all this water, a heavy rainfall, we fill up those ditches, we're overlanding the water onto the road. I don't know if that obviously doesn't fall within his applicant, but the city is gonna have to look at something. If it's ditches and swales and you're hardening all these surfaces and collecting all that extra rainwater, it's gonna deteriorate the road even more.
I
because you're just
can
gonna
respond to that. We've gone to the extent of actually doing detailed civil design drawings and looking at stormwater detention and what this, the properties will allow and how much will be conveyed through the existing ditch. Right now, the conveyance is across Clifton Street to that future urban development
Yeah.
parcel that I indicated. Yeah, and we've actually done our detailed design drawings already that demonstrate that it will function properly.
So that's draining back to the rail corridor?
I don't know exactly where it goes. It goes to a ditch,
Well,
and I
because
don't.
the rail corridor is gonna be up and the
It-
land's gonna be down, it's gonna fill that
I think
future
that there's.
development
I
area.
think that there's an exist. I know down here there is a sort of almost a tributary or stream along this the western side of the rail corridor. I don't know exactly what happens up here.
Right, because once you get to the rail corridor, they're gonna wanna understand where this water goes.
I don't know where it. Yeah, and that's a.
Because if it's going back into the rail corridor, you're gonna start getting washout of ballast and sub-ballast and their ditching and stormwater system as well.
That's something that will be addressed, that our engineer probably has already addressed, if not, but certainly will be, the engineering drawings will have to be looked at again and be approved by the city of Thorold as well.
Okay.
So, to make sure that that works, that'll be covered under a development agreement. But we have looked at that and we have done the flows, the pre and post-development flows, and I think we're matching.
Okay, just my other comment sort of concern is the traffic at Center and Highway 20 where the bridge is. And just, I know it's another development, but if we start doing what we're showing here with all these different dots, how are people gonna even get out? Like when that bridge is up and the traffic is all the way back to Black Horse Corners and people are trying to come out this way and they're trying to go out where does everybody go?
Yeah.
When's the most recent traffic study of that intersection?
Chairman, they say the city's got they're looking at the traffic right now. That's 2 or 3 years long.
Yeah, but in 2 or 3 years, we've already doubled the capacity of the people living in that small little village, right? That small little village. I understand where the people are coming from. They moved out there because they want to be in a little secluded with their own little detached house, and away they go. But like, I have nothing against bringing more townhouses, more people in there, but we got to do something addressing that traffic at Center, right at the bridge. Because like, I would never go that way. I'd always go around if I had to go another way. But how are those people like? It just, to me, seems like there needs to be another traffic study done.
I would agree with you. When I posted the neighborhood sign last week, the bridge was up and then the bridge was down, and I waited here for 10 minutes and I turned my car around and I went down to Barron Road.
Because in shipping season, that bridge is up every hour for 10 months of the year. It seems to be open year round now, but it's up and down every single hour. And you have like, emergency vehicles, there's fire, like there's a lot of things that are dictated by that tiny little intersection there that, like, even if you're trying to cross as a pedestrian, it takes a little bit of effort. So I'm just asking if the city could look at maybe doing another traffic study in that area just to see the flows, because it's just, to me, seems like it's a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels.
Yep.
as Mr. Pizzo said, they say they're looking into it now.
But we'll approve applicant after applicant after applicant after dwelling and dwelling and dwelling. And if like you don't like address the small infrastructure needs that we need before we start allowing more and more and more houses and more people into these areas, like it's never going to get caught up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Further questions for the applicant? Is there anyone else? I'm sorry. I'm just going to see if anybody would like to speak to this application in the audience. Sir, please approach. No, come on up here. I need to hear you. Just take the microphone. You're going to be on TV.
I wanted to thank you for the presentation. It did give us a lot more. Oh, by the way, my name is Lynn Moline, and this is my husband Larry.
Yeah, you mentioned our place quite a few times.
Yeah, we live at 2315, which is right beside
If you
this new development.
That's it.
And we did have some concerns, which his presentation definitely addressed some of our questions. The grading,
First of all, the water runoff thing is a big deal.
yeah,
You were right, big time. There's the ditches that are, can't even call them ditches, they're kind of a depression. They've never been dug out, they've never been fixed. The culvert he's talking about that runs east and west, halfway through that lot that you're proposing to make into 5 driveways,
it's around lot 3 and 4 of the proposed.
it's plugged,
Yeah.
and it's never been cleaned. We've lived there 18 years, the water builds up in that ditch where that culvert is, and it's stuck there. Water further up the road, all the way up to Highway 20, there are no ditches. That water runs down the road into what we're talking about, that troubled area.
It's meant to go across to the property there near CN, the train tracks. There's an actual trough that runs through that undeveloped land there that you were talking about proposed. There's an actual trough or like a small creek or whatever indentation that runs across that property, and the water's supposed to go from our side of the street over there, but there's no way for it to get over there.
There's no way it does. Now, when we're talking about parking, and we're talking about these extended driveways, like we have at our house, we can park 2 vehicles in front of our garage, end to end, right? But we're on city property. The back of those vehicles hang out to the road. And the road is only 14 foot wide, asphalt to asphalt. There is no stone shoulder at all. It's grass. So it's crazy. 2 pickup trucks cannot pass each other without hitting their mirrors, or you going out into the grass.
So we're worried about.
So where he's proposing these 5 driveways are gonna come out, right now, there's a ditch running across those driveways, those proposed driveways. Well, there's gonna need to be a culvert at every driveway to let that water out. The water runs all the way down to that east and west culvert that's halfway through that site. And then the water runs from Henderson back to that culvert, north back to that culvert. So there's a lot of water involved here. And if those driveways don't have culverts underneath those driveways, there's gonna be a major problem with the water runoff. And where is it gonna go? It's gonna go onto the street.
Mr. Pizzo, did you have a question?
So if there's no widening, if there is no widening of that street, there won't be 2 cars parked in a driveway. Because the widening of the street will stop you from having 2 cars parked end to end. Anywhere along there, even where we are.
Thank you.
So I don't know what you guys are gonna do about the road, but there ain't no sidewalks, there ain't no curbs. We're talking about curb cutouts. There's no curbs, right? There's asphalt and grass. That's it. So,
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Pizzo, question?
Mr. Chairman, I agree that you're right, but that doesn't affect the housing, building department's gonna have to take that into consideration. And what you're talking about should be done. But the chances of them getting done, I don't know. Forget about it.
Well,
You're
so
right,
far-
you're right, you're 100% right.
So far, nothing's happened on that street.
But that's something we can
It's
work
not even
on
a
today.
street.
We're talking about a application, not the street, or the sewers, or the water. You got a good point, but dead in the water trying to get the city to do something.
Well, I mean, the application is saying that you're gonna have all this parking, and I'm telling you, it's not gonna be there.
Well, we know that, but the trouble is, we can't do nothing about the road.
So,
or
so
the-
what happens now is finally we get plowed or sanded. When the plow goes down, he rips up 3 feet of grass in front of our house. And
Sympathize.
I stood out there a couple of times, and the guy buried me in snow. He was laughing. He didn't care. And he rips out 3 feet of grass on the other side when he drives back. It's crazy. People have been putting those steel posts out there trying to stop that from happening. I mean, we go out there and replant the grass actually on your property every spring.
Mr. Ravenek.
Yeah, basically echoing what Mr. Pizzo said and what this neighbor has said. And we've got 5 staff members in here, and he's talking about a culvert that's been plugged up for X number of years. I would presume that somebody could bring this to the attention to the appropriate department within the city. And if that doesn't work, call your favorite counselor and bring all these issues to their attention, because, you know, you vote for them, so they should be doing something in return. So that would be my suggestion on that.
You know, there's gonna be a lot of problems with 5 people trying to back out of their driveway on that corner, right? The driveway before on the property we're talking about came out onto Henderson. Now you're adding an extra driveway there, and it's right on the corner. Kids stand there to get on the bus. There's gonna be problems with people parked parallel on that road, so close to that corner, there's gonna be trouble. I'm telling you.
Mr. Basic, as the new acting temporary, whatever your title is, I can't read it from here. Interim, thank you. Can we rely on you to bring this to the council's attention, these problems that have been brought before us?
Yes, thank you, everybody, and it's a pleasure meeting everybody under these circumstances. I will try to attend the meetings as much as I can to try to answer any questions you might have regarding other matters other than what you're dealing with. But to answer your question, I do intend to bring some of the concerns that have been raised forward to the managers that are responsible for the roads, and to see if anything can be done about that. Thank you.
Fantastic. That's the man you gotta talk to right there.
The only other comment I had was just during the construction process, is that Clifton is a dead-end street. So if there's, you know,
If there's gonna be serious
yeah,
construction.
just
going
making
on.
sure that we all have access to the street, because we have no other option of getting in and out of that street other than through Henderson. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Did you have something you'd like to quickly add?
Yeah, just in terms of, it sounds to me like there's an existing drainage issue. That actually will be something that will be remedied by this application. It's subject to a development agreement. There will be culverts to ensure drainage under each of the driveways. And if there is an existing issue with the ditch or whatever that crosses Clifton Street, the development agreement will ensure that water is able to flow and that it doesn't overflow Clifton. So these are issues that actually this application will resolve if they're existing. So I just wanted to clarify that to the adjacent resident. And as for the parking, as you can see on our site plan, the issue is we've got 8.5 meters of driveway. Now, 2 compact or subcompact cars are capable of fitting But it's when you start stacking large SUVs that you will get overhang. So it really depends who's living in those units in terms of you're either able to accommodate it fully within the property or there will be overhang. Now, if everybody's buying large SUVs, then yes, you're going to get overhang. But you know, we've sized them for 2 compact cars. So
All right. Further
Thank you.
question? Sir, come. You sure can, quickly.
I'd like to ask the people here, how many people have 2 cars in their residence? Put your hand up. You don't have 2 cars?
Nope.
Really? So there are a lot of people that have more than at least 2 cars, if not more. Let's say the family has teenagers, right? They'll have another car. Where are they going? So, you know, and the driveways aren't really wide enough to have 2 cars parked side by side and open the door. Yeah, look at the plan. Our driveways are 40 foot wide and we can barely do it without hitting each other's doors. Anyway, sorry.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else want to address this application? In the back there, do I see somebody? Please, step forward. If you could identify yourself for the record, please.
Morning, I'm Jesse Jansen. I live at 1554 Henderson, the property that runs behind all of these development that's kind of brought up here. I thought it was interesting that I was never approached, seeing as it affects me the most. Whole backyard runs down the whole length of the property, so every single one of these. Obviously, I don't think that's going to improve the value of my house. I moved here as a young man, wanting the country experience, wanting the privacy. Sorry, the infrastructure around the water pressure and the sewage. Am I going to lose water pressure with that many more units coming in? The drainage is obviously a huge issue because I feel like it will pour into my basement rather than anywhere else. There isn't ditches on those streets. And parking on the road, again, with all the people walking and there's a lot of kids with bikes on the street, and you're adding 10 to 15 more cars on that street, it's gonna cause a problem. And I just wonder if that's ever addressed. Other than that, the Rolling Meadows around the corner has over 25 houses for sale right now. There's definitely, I know there's a shortage, they say, of houses, but right now, there's not many people buying houses in the area. Why, like, I question about how the value of what these places will go for, and if they have anything pre-sold before they start building, is that a requirement? And also, but mostly, it's just, why would we build more houses in a neighborhood that is a mature neighborhood with big trees, big yards, quiet streets, and then you're just packing in a ton of more people into that area? And it really affects me the most, I think, next to them as well, but anybody on Clifton Street. I know there's a development next to me on the other side of my house that was approved for a single dwelling detachment. I would understand if the applicant came forward and said, we want to split the land into two and have two single dwelling homes. That makes far more sense than packing as much. It just comes down to money. They just want to make as much money on that property as possible and don't really care about the neighborhood. So we had over 100 signatures last time in the neighborhood that were against the separation on the other side of me. It still got pushed through from the provincial side, but it's not a welcome building in our neighborhood. I just from talking to neighbors and everything. But yeah, I just really would like to know the timeline of when this construction would be taking place, the prices of these units, and how they fit in with the neighborhood. That's about it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Further questions or comments? I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson, did you have a question?
Yeah, comment more than anything.
Sure.
Well, one question, one comment. I'm glad to hear that I'll agree with the water situation, and I'm glad to hear that's being addressed, and it looks like it's going to be resolved, or hopefully. The other question is the parking. Are these townhouses and semi going to be moved back a little bit, or how is that going to?
That's not the proposal before us.
Okay. I know it satisfies the requirements of the province right now, but as we discussed here earlier, there's possibility of moving it back, so I didn't know if that was going to be a part of what we're voting on or not, but I guess not,
no.
John. Okay.
No, we,
Most of the problems all seem to be a problem water problem is their problem. We're dealing with an application that's nothing to do with the water. You're smiling. I'd like to move this application forward to D10-302 2025. The application is desirable, and I'd like to move it with the conditions. Now, I just have one question, is, will you move the houses back?
can we get a seconder for that before we have any questions? Can we get a seconder for that motion? Mr. Ravenek? Okay, go ahead.
I mean,
Mr.
you did
Beasley.
a lot of talking about moving it back, but I know what the hell you said. Okay?
Oh, in terms of moving them back, I need to know a little bit more information about what you mean by moving them back. So what we've proposed on our site plan, if you can go to the site plan, I think it's slide 4. So the rear yard setback requirement is 7.5 meters, which we've proposed on our site plan. I don't know if you can find that. I'll wait.
We don't need the slide. Go
You don't
ahead.
need the slide?
We
Okay.
don't need the slide.
So we have 7.5 meters for our rear yard setback, which is the minimum, without requiring a minor variance. So if we move the houses back, if we move the houses back further, then yes, we would require a minor variance, because we're already at the minimum 7.5 meters. I believe the front yard setback is only 6 meters for the front yard setback, and we're providing 8.5 meters. So we've actually moved them back 2.5 meters already from what the bylaw requires. So, as I said before, 8.5 meters is a significant, that's 26 feet of driveway length, which is substantial. I mean, we would have to shrink the unit sizes if we wanted even longer driveways. I mean, possibly. These aren't large, they're not that large, the units to begin with. But I'd need to know how much driveway length you're asking us to provide.
Chairman, you brought it up.
Yeah, yep.
You brought it up. I didn't bring it up. You brought it up.
What I might have mentioned was, yeah, like, to my point, you're allowed 6 meters of front yard depth, and these driveways are set back to 8.5 meters. So, I mean, we could actually move these units up if we wanted and meet the bylaw requirement and provide more rear yard.
Let's move forward.
Yeah.
Let's deal with the
The
application before us.
application as is, I'll accept
Yeah.
it.
And that's the 14 conditions as well with the mover and seconder?
What are the conditions?
The 14? We're fine with that? Let's bring it back to the committee. Questions, comments from the committee on the motion? Yes, sir. Oh, my goodness. You want to speak? Oh, Lord.
I didn't know you ended there.
No, I just asked for people that wanted to speak, and that's fine. Go ahead, sir. Be as concise as you can, please.
There we
New
go.
information would be great.
Is that on? Yeah, thank you, Chair and members of the Committee of Adjustments. My name is Fred Regier. I, along with my wife, Elsa Marie, own 1555 Henderson Street, Allenburg, directly across the street from the property we're speaking about. We have resided at this same residence since 2002 and expect to stay for many more years. We appreciate the City of Thorold, including the residents, and their comments in this matter. We hope are justified comments do not fall on deaf ears, but hope our committee members take these to heart and help maintain and enhance the character of our established community. I am writing to formally oppose the application currently before the Committee of Adjustment relating to the address located directly across the street from me at 1548 Henderson Street, Allenburg, seeking to sever a single existing lot into 5 separate residential lots. As a resident for 23 years in this Allenburg community, I am deeply concerned about the potential negative impacts this proposal would have on the character, livability, safety, and infrastructure of our neighborhood. Allenburg is valued for its small-town charm, cohesive community culture, and safety, and developments of this nature threaten to undermine the very qualities that make it a desirable place to live and raise a family. The intensification proposed in this application is out of scale with the existing low-density character of the neighborhood. Allowing 5 new residential lots on a parcel originally intended for 1 home not only alters the visual and spatial landscape, but also erodes the small-town atmosphere that residents have invested in for many years, come to expect and cherish. This shift toward over-intensification appears inconsistent with the policies and objectives laid out in the City of Thorold official plan, which emphasizes maintaining the character of existing neighborhoods, ensuring compatible in scale and density developments, and fostering sustainable growth that respects community identity. Furthermore, the additional multiple households will in fact bring a significant increase in vehicular traffic. Many streets in Thorold are not designed to accommodate such density, and the resulting congestion, noise, and parking pressures would degrade the quality of life for nearby residents. Most streets in Allenburg do not have sidewalks, so children and pedestrians are forced to walk on the street. The potential safety concerns are very troubling. Considering that the average number of vehicles per household is 2, possibly 3, possibly even a utility trailer or a camping trailer in a span of only 164 feet, that is less than 4 times the length of this room. There could be between 10 to 25 vehicles at any given time. We all know that some of these vehicles do not stay on the driveways, but are parked at times on the street sides. Clifton Street is not wide, and this property is on the corner of Clifton and Henderson, so it would make this a considerable safety concern. I heard, is it Mila or Mila? Her mentioning that the extra vehicles would not be concerned. I don't know what report she's been reading or where she pulled that out of the air, but that is not fact. This will have an impact. We have, in the past, or actually there's properties on the corner of Center Street and Barron Road that they've built 3 houses. They're going to be building 22 in total. And then on Barron Road, there's another development of over 90 properties. When will this committee stop giving permits and let the city catch up? My suggestion is to create a maximum of 2 lots out of this 1 lot where 2 separate single detached dwellings can be built. In the light of these considerations, I urge the committee to deny this application. Approving it would go against the City of Thorold official plan and set a concerning precedent for future developments that could incrementally dismantle the very fabric of our community. Thank you for your attention to this matter and for your continued work in safeguarding the long-term interests of the City of Thorold and its residents.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Questions or comments? We have a motion. Mr. Ravenek.
Maybe just to address this gentleman's concerns, if Mila could address the official plan and the zoning for the neighborhood again, just so that we can put it to rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mila. Go ahead.
Absolutely, and through the chair. We have reviewed this application against the Niagara Region official plan, as well as the City of Thorold official plan, of course. The Niagara Region official plan has established an intensification target of 25% of new residential units to be provided within the built-up area of Thorold, which this application falls within. Under the Thorold official plan, the policies for intensification, specifically residential intensification, speak to proposals that are encouraged to achieve a unit density and housing type, definitely that is compatible and in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. And with what we have seen the applicant put forth today, as well as the information that we had when reviewing the application, the proposed height of the buildings are not to their maximum, as noted by the applicant. The application before you meets all regulations under the zoning bylaw as well. So we are not here today to discuss any minor variances of or anything of that nature. In fact, a lot of the regulations, like lot width or frontage, lot area, as well as the front setbacks, are exceeded. So the application here today is just to sever the property into those lots. And as of right, they could be putting, with the existing building that's on the property, they could be putting an ADU or secondary detached building that is similar to the proposal today, not in terms of form or the density, but the height and regulations that are being presented today. As well as what the applicant has spoken to previously, any unit that is, any lot that is of residential nature by the province can have up to 3 dwelling units per lot. And also what was provided in the presentation, the townhouse units as well as the semi-detached proposed units already meet the 45% maximum lot coverage. So in terms of future intensification, it would be very, very difficult to increase the units to the proposed lot area. And Regarding the urban form and things like traffic and things like that, again, the application today is for the severance of the property and not for existing conditions such as the road width. And finally, I think he also mentioned parking. Again, under the zoning bylaw, the requirement is 1 parking space per unit. So the application meets and will likely exceed that, understanding that the type of demographic in Thorold may have typically 2 cars, one or 2 cars. And lastly, I would think that any potential purchaser of any one of these units would understand that their needs would have to match the built form and the width of the driveway, so as to not park on the street or anywhere where there would be increased safety or traffic concerns.
Thank you, Mila. Mr. Ravenek, did that clear things up for everybody? Or for you, at
Hopefully,
least?
yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. Whoop. Are we ready for the question? Seeing no more questions or comments, all in favor of the motion? Thank you. Moving on. Thank you for your patience, everybody, and thank you for your attendance. It's important. Mr. Basic was making lots of notes. Mila, are you ready?
Yes. Sorry, I can only see the conditions up on the screen. Are we looking at Fawn Court now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
We are.
The next application through the chair, the next application is 9 Fawn Court, which is a minor variance application with the file number D13-09-2025. This is a minor variance proposal to facilitate the creation of a detached accessory structure proposed to be a garage. The zone applicable to the lot is R1A, which permits accessory buildings and accessory uses like garages. So a minor variance will be needed under the accessory structure regulations in the zoning bylaw regarding maximum lot coverage and maximum height. The variances are to permit 11% lot coverage, whereas 10% are permitted in the bylaw, and a height of 5.5 meters, whereas 4.5 meters is permitted otherwise. The proposal meets the applicable policies under the 2024 PPS and regional and local official plans. A few comments were provided from the building department. However, no conditions or objections were raised. One member of public commented on the application, which has also been acknowledged in the report. And the application meets the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, is appropriate for the development of the land, and is minor, meeting the 4 tests of a minor variance application. Staff recommend approval. And I would just like to acknowledge that within the report, within the packages that we received from city staff, we just noted that a few additional sections have been added that within the overarching policy that are slightly inaccurate. So this relates to, let me just find the actual paragraph here. Bear with me. Okay, so relating to the Niagara Region official plan, and as well as the City of Thorold official plan, the report references the development proposal with a garage and additional dwelling unit. However, this is not the application that is before us today. This is just for a garage structure. Nevertheless, the overarching policies do, the application does comply and meet the intent of the overarching policies. This is an accessory use and is permitted in a residential zone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mila. Well, who speaks on behalf of this application, please? Again, thank you for your patience.
No problem. Hope it ain't takes as long. My name's Lee Jensen. I live at 9 Fawn Court, and I applied for the application for the variances.
Welcome, Mr. Jensen. Do you
Thank
have
you.
anything to add to the report?
Pardon me?
Do you have anything to add to the report?
Nope,
Just
it's basically build a garage.
questions or comments from the committee members? Seeing none. Mr. Ravenek. Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Mr. Jackson? Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That was quick.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck
Have
to
a
you.
good day, guys.
You too. Moving on, Mila. Is it Mila or Mila?
Mila, thank you.
My mistake, sorry. I'll try
No,
hard.
it's all good.
All right, Mila, you go ahead.
Our last, thank you, sorry, through the chair, our last application today is 17 Chapel Street North, file D13-10-2025. This is also a similar minor variance to facilitate the creation of a detached accessory structure proposed to be a garage with a secondary dwelling unit. The zoning of the property is R1B, which permits the proposed use. A minor variance is needed for underneath the accessory structure regulations regarding maximum lot coverage and height. Very similar to the other application, variances are needed to permit 11% lot coverage and a height of 6 meters. A few comments were provided from the building department and the region. However, no conditions or objections were raised, and the application meets the intent of all overarching policies and meets the 4 tests of a minor variance. Staff recommend approval of this application.
Thank you, Mila. Who presents on behalf of this application? There's only one of you left, so I guess it's you.
Mr. Chair, Emilio Ramondo, Associate Architects.
Welcome.
I really don't have anything to add this morning, and we certainly support staff's recommendation and this committee. Great to see you, Walter.
No, we don't have a seconder for the motion. Sort of motion.
Sorry, I was catching up with Walter. It's kind of an accessory dwelling. The current house is relatively small. There's 2 bedrooms. So Peter's going to maybe likely move his office above the garage. He works from home, basically for a company. And that would free up the 2nd bedroom for family, so.
We have a seconder on the motion? Mr. Jackson. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your
everyone.
patience. Yeah, just a sec, we've just been handed some breaking news here. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Pizzo, go ahead.
I'd like to know when the hell are we gonna get a planner here that does the planning report? Are you guys listening? Follow, you guys listening? When are we gonna get a planner in here? This is ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. You can't understand half of what she's saying. So, the clerk, can you fill us in?
Through you, Mr. Chair, as I mentioned in the last meeting, I'm not responsible for hiring, and it's a different
You're the
department that I
clerk.
work We're good?
No, I was waving to somebody at the
Feel-
door.
Feel free, Mr. Pizzo, and anyone else who has questions, to maybe raise them to staff. Don't necessarily have to do it in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the clerk.
Well, we got planners here looking at a,
Got two
Through you,
planners
Mr.
sitting
Chair, the
right there.
planners are available as well outside of the meeting if you do have questions. Thanks.
Thank you to the
wait a
clerk.
minute, what did he say?
There are planners here that you can talk to, and I think in fairness, they're trying to hire.
Well, the planner should be giving us the report. Connor.
Mr. Basic, you want to chat with that?
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch the question.
No, you didn't answer the question. You were down there. I am asking you a question. When are we going to get a planner that does a presentation here, not up there?
Unfortunately, quite a few staff have left, and we're heavily reliant on the consultants and the consulting firms that we've hired to do a lot of the legwork for us. So we're in the process of trying to recruit as many people into the department as possible. But it's been a difficult and long road in order to do that. So we're doing the best we can. Hopefully, sometime in the near future, you'll be able to have people here that will be able to present the applications forward to you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Basic. Mr. Pizzo.
Why are 2 planners, 3 planners sitting here?
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
that's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a difficult question. I'm here just to introduce myself. Normally, I wouldn't attend the meetings, but and Jay is also here. But at some point in the future, Jay will be doing a lot of the presentations. So, and Jay just started with us a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in the process, like I said, of hiring people into the planning department so that we can provide the service that's necessary for the city and for the committee and council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Basic. Further questions or comments? Next meeting, July 17th? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Pizzo.
Yeah.